UFC Fight Night Perth, Reyes versus Ulberg. Quick picks, quick predictions. You boys already know. The UFC is going back to the land down under, and they are bringing a very long fight night with them. Almost 15 fights, I believe. So we're going to break down every single fight. Before we go ahead and get into it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's start it off with the early prelim opener of Brando Pericic versus Alicia Ellison. There's no point in me even opening their tab because both of them have 0 wins and 0 losses, and we've got no pictures. We've got 2 black pictures here. So, this is going to be a difficult one to break down. They were supposed to fight on the Contender Series in August. Now they're fighting on a UFC Fight Night in Perth. I think it's only because Brando Pericic is Australian. They're chucking every single Australian they can on this card. They've just tossed them all. They're like, all right, here you go, Perth. Take every single Australian. No ranked fighters, basically. Just take every Australian. There you go. So they've dropped this fight in to be the early prelim opener. I don't know why, but Brando Pericic, he's got 4 wins in his MMA career, 1 loss. Alicia Ellison, 5 wins in his MMA career, 1 loss. And Brando Pericic is just a big, bulky Australian, if I'm being honest. He's just one of those tanky Australian guys. And so they've got him in heavyweight. And they got Alicia Ellison, who's a lengthier, taller, better striker, in my opinion, in heavyweight here. And I think he's got better finishing upside. I think he's more active than Brando Pericic. And I think his wins are a bit more credible, if you can even give either of these guys credit. I'm going to give the credit to Alicia Ellison, man. I can't say the name. And I think he's going to find a finish over Brando Pericic. Pericic is just a big, bulky Australian. Like I said, there's really not much to go about. He doesn't have great striking. He's more just a ball of muscle. And he's just beat up some sour Australians, man, on some weird regional scenes. So I'm going to go Alicia Ellison to get this one done by finish in the first round. 2 big heavyweights throwing it down. I guess it'll be fun. We'll see. I'm going to go Alicia Ellison as the quick pick. We move on to the next fight. Michelle Montag versus Luana Carolina. Another black picture here. But Michelle is a bit more well-known in the Australia scene, in the MMA Australia scene at least. She's very good. She's undefeated. All of her wins come by submission. Every single win is by submission. Not a single decision, not a single knockout. Every single one by submission. She's got a lot of regional fights as well. A lot of regional fights. She's been fighting since 2015. She's pretty high level. She fought in the PFL. She did very well in the PFL, got a lot of submissions. And so she's pretty hyped up coming in here against Luana Carolina. But like we saw last weekend with Alice Pereira and Montserrat Rendon, sometimes the older, more experienced fighter in the UFC is able to shut down a hot prospect. Obviously, this isn't the exact same scenario. Pereira was 18 or 19 or whatever the case was, and she was coming in, making her UFC debut. She had 6 wins in her career, kind of the same thing as Michelle Montag, but she didn't have all the amateur experience that Montag has. I'm going to go with Michelle Montag. Or I keep calling her Montag. I'm going to go with her to get a submission win against Luana Carolina. I just think that Michelle's amateur experience and all of her regional fights are actually pretty well. They're good to look at. Like I've watched some of the tape, and you can actually take some credibility from some of those wins. She gets her takedown. She looks for her choke, rear naked. She usually finds a rear naked choke. She can mix it up well. She can find arm bars. She can find different submissions. She's very well rounded on the ground, and I don't know if Luana Carolina can keep it on the feet. If she does keep it on the feet, though, she will win a decision. Michelle Montag's only 2 losses in her amateur career are by decision. She could get pieced up by Luana Carolina. We will see how this goes on. But as the quick pick, I'll go with Michelle to get it done in Australia. This is clearly a setup. They're trying to get Michelle to win this fight. They're going to hype her up throughout the week. They're going to promote the shit out of her. So I'm going to go with Michelle to get it done. They want her to win in Perth, in Australia, as the Australian. And they want a prospect in bantamweight. So I'm going to go Michelle Montag by submission in the first or second round for the quick pick. We move on. Jamie Mullarkey, Rolando Bedoya. Terrible fight. Terrible low-level matchup. I'm going Jamie Mullarkey. Rolando Bedoya has not won a fight in the UFC. He hasn't won a fight in years, and he doesn't do anything. He is a punching bag for the most part. Jamie Mullarkey doesn't have the best chin, but he's fighting a guy with very little power. Rolando Bedoya doesn't have power. He doesn't have great grappling. He's really not great at anything. He's kind of just a Peruvian punching bag, if I'm being honest. I do like that he trains at Shoot the Box, obviously. I'm a number 1 Shoot the Box glazer. Charles Oliveira, Daniel Santos, a lot of those guys. I love the Shoot the Box guys. Anyways, Jamie Mullarkey, I think, is the better striker. I think he can stay and keep it on the feet. And also, I think he's the bigger guy here. Rolando Bedoya is kind of He's kind of bulky, but he doesn't have too much going for him. His striking is just okay. His grappling is so-so. Jamie Malarkey is kind of the same. Like, this is a 50-50 in my eyes, and I'm going to lean Jamie Malarkey being the Australian in Australia. I think some of these Australians will get it done. We had a lot of bias in it wasn't even Mexico, in San Antonio last weekend with the Mexicans. They all won, and the weekend before that in Paris, all the French won. They won mostly by finish, but all the French won. So we're seeing a lot of winners from the certain places that we're going. And here in Australia, we've got a lot of Australians fighting. I think a lot of them will win. So give me Jamie Malarkey by decision. Rolando Bedoya, very tough, the slower striker, very hittable, and I think Jamie Malarkey will just skirt his way to a decision. Give me Jamie Malarkey as a quick pick. We move on. Colby Thickness, Josiah Musasa. Musasa got head kick KO'd by Carlos Vera. I'm going with Colby Thickness. I cannot trust a guy who gets head kick KO'd by old man Carlos Vera in bantamweight in the first round and gets KO'd as a massive favorite. Musasa was a massive favorite, gets head kick KO'd. It wasn't even a head kick KO. He got head kicked, got dropped, and then submitted. Sorry. He got head kicked, dropped, and then choked out in the first round. Terrible look for Musasa. Colby Thickness, on the other hand, fought Ilia Toporia's younger or older brother. I think older brother, Alexandre Topuria. And he looked pretty, I'm not going to say he looked great, but he held his own. He stayed alive. He didn't get finished, unlike Josiah Musasa. And he does train at a good camp. He trains with Volk. He trains with the guys in Australia. And I'm glad they're keeping him on the roster. I think he wins this fight. Josiah Musasa just really isn't all that. He really isn't. Colby Thickness, he's got a great chin on him. He can move on the outside. He can pop his shots. He can make it dirty, make it scrappy, like he kind of did against Alexandre. He didn't do too well in that fight, but he's fighting a very high-level guy, very hyped-up guy, and he held his own. So give me Colby Thickness to get this one done. I'm going to say he gets it done by finish. I think he's going to find a finish over Josiah Musasa as the quick pick for now, man. This is a difficult fight to predict, though. We're going to move on to the next fight. Andre Petroski versus Cameron Rouston. Now, you're going to see I'm taking a lot of these Australians, and it's not just because they're in Australia. I genuinely think they're getting given pretty good matchups here. And I'm going to lean with Cameron Rouston to get it done over Andre Petroski. I know Petroski has good grappling. I know he can pull fights out of his ass. He definitely can. He definitely can, but he struggles with long, lengthy strikers with good grappling. In his last fight, he fought Edmund Shabazian, who has terrible grappling, very bad grappling, but he held his own against Andre Petroski, and I think Cameron Rouston has better grappling than Edmund Shabazian. He can hold his own on the ground. He can keep up with the wrestling for the most part. He obviously didn't do well against Torres Finney on Dana White Contender Series, but he went back, trained up, and he's back. He just got a win on Dana White Contender Series not long ago at all, only a few weeks ago, and here he is fighting in Perth against Petroski. I think he'll have home court advantage. I think his striking is very underrated. Cameron Rouston's got some power in his hands. I wouldn't be surprised if he clips Andre Petroski. Petroski was able to beat grapplers. He's able to beat grapplers and, kind of shorter guys, not guys that are that tall and lengthy for the division. But when he fights guys like Edmund Shabazian or Cameron Rouston, he loses. So I'm going to lean Cameron Rouston to get this one done. And I'm going to say he gets it done by decision. Andre Petroski, very tough. I think Cameron Rouston, as long as his cardio keeps up, he will get this one done. Petroski's going to be hunting for takedowns the entire fight, so Rouston's got to be prepared to stuff him and just circle out, move his feet nonstop, pedal on the gas, keep pedaling, and get this fight going. I think Cameron Rouston wins it by decision. Give me Cameron Rouston for the quick pick. We move on to the next fight. Jonathan McAuliffe versus Oban Elliott. One of the fights on this card that I'm most excited for. Very tough pick. Jonathan McAuliffe, new prospect from Australia in the UFC, just beat, what's his name? The French guy. Oh my goodness, the French guy that got his ass whooped by Brian Battle, notoriously in France. Jonathan McAuliffe beat him. He beat him by decision, body kicked his way to a decision, really beat up on him. Oh, it's Kevin Jousset. He body kicked the shit out of Kevin Jousset in the first round, the second round, the third round, did not stop slamming body kicks into Kevin Jousset and battered him up for 3 rounds for his debut at UFC 312. It was a very good look for Jonathan McAuliffe. He looked great. He showed that his cardio is good. He's got that power in his hands and in his kicks, and he can mix it up to the body and to the head very well. Very well, very smoothly. Then you got Oban Elliott, who is a dangerous striker. I'm not going to say he's got the most power, but he showed it off at UFC 309 against, what's his name? Basil Hafez, landed that big one-shot knockout, the big overhand right. And I think that's the only scenario where Jonathan McAuliffe has some issues, is getting caught by a big overhand right or a big overhand left. In his only loss, he was kind of just overwhelmed and caught. I just don't think Obon Elliott can do that. I'm going to be honest. I'm going with Jonathan McAuliffe as the early pick here. Obon Elliott in his last fight against Suk Young Ko got pressured, got walked down, and kind of lost all of his aura. He kind of lost all of his aura. He lost all of his intention to fight. He lost his game plan, went out the window. Everything that he planned went out the window. I get it that Suk Young Ko was grappling like crazy, but Jonathan McAuliffe can do the same thing. If McAuliffe has the right game plan coming in here, he can force Obon Elliott into a scrappy matchup, and then at distance, he can slam body kicks. Being the southpaw, he can slam body kicks into Obon non-stop, being the better, longer fighter at distance. I think he's going to be able to slam body kicks, land his jab, keep it at range, and when it gets close and gets scrappy, he's the bigger, more physical guy. I think he can take down Obon Elliott. I think he can grapple with him, and I'm kind of surprised that Jonathan McAuliffe is the underdog. So give me Jonathan McAuliffe as the quick pick, as the early pick. I know Obon Elliott's good. I like Obon Elliott, so this is a tough fight for me to predict because I like Jonathan McAuliffe as well, but I'm going to lean McAuliffe to get this one done by decision. Obon's very tough, very difficult to finish, but I think Jonathan McAuliffe will grind this fight out, make it dirty, make it difficult for Obon Elliott to get his striking off, get his takedowns, and I think Jonathan McAuliffe wins this fight. So give me McAuliffe by decision as the quick pick. We move on to the next fight. Loma Lukeboom versus Alexia Tainara. Will this load? I don't know. It doesn't look like it's going to load. Loma Lukeboom is one of those people that when she's an underdog, you're like, wait, I kind of have to lay down this line because she's always the favorite. But in this fight against Alexia Tainara, I think Tainara is kind of an issue. I think she's kind of an issue. I think she's a crazy Brazilian. I think she's very difficult to deal with. Loma Lukeboom, she's come from a tough background. I think she's the only Thai fighter in the UFC. So it's kind of cool, but I think Loma Lukeboom's going to have very big difficulties with the grappling, with the takedowns of Alexia Tainara, who's going to be constantly looking for them. And she's got pretty good striking of her own. In her first fight in the UFC, she subbed Molly McCann in the first, was it the first or the second round, rear naked choke? Just beat up on Molly McCann in London as well. Really, really badly beat her with that rear naked choke. And I think she can do the same to Loma Lukeboom. I got to lean with Alexia Tainara in this fight. I think Loma's good, but I think she's going to struggle with the takedowns, struggle with the grappling. Even if Alexia doesn't sub her, I think the grappling and the threats of the takedown are going to be a bit scary for Loma, and she's not going to be able to do what she does with her striking. So give me Alexia Tainara as the quick pick. I'm not going to say she subs Loma, but I think she will beat her either by submission or decision. We move on to the next fight. Navajo Sterling versus Rodolfo Bellato. Navajo Sterling will get redemption for Paul Craig, and that blatant acting from Rodolfo Bellato in that last fight. Rodolfo Bellato got head kicked by Paul Craig off of his back. He got head kicked and flopped onto the ground, and he just started going like this. He started going like that, and he was like, oh my God, I'm unconscious, ref. I can't get up. He started faking. He started frauding the shit out of that fight. We know Rodolfo Bellato was lying. He was faking that. Navajo Sterling will get revenge for Paul Craig. He will finish Rodolfo Bellato. I think Navajo Sterling's very good. I watched him live in Montreal. He's got great striking, very diverse, not the most power in his hands, but he's a dog. He will scrap it out. He's not scared to get in a big exchange with you, and he will slug big hooks in the pocket. He doesn't have the most power, like I said, but he can finish a fight. He's scrappy. He will not stop pushing forward, and he's got good cardio. That's the most important thing. He's got good cardio. Rodolfo Bellato doesn't have the best cardio. He's very big for the weight class, but he holds a lot of muscle. He slows down quite easily, and he's pretty chinny. I think if Navajo Sterling, is going to find a knockout, he'll find it over Rodolfo Bellato of all guys, because Rodolfo Bellato has been caught. He got caught by that Paul Craig foot, and the fight before that, he got beat up by Jimmy Crute. Arguably shouldn't have been a draw in that fight. I think that was on UFC 312 as well. He shouldn't have went to a draw with Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute beat him up bad in that first round and almost finished him multiple times. I think Navajo Sterling can finish this fight. Give me Navajo Sterling by KO. I think he finishes Rodolfo Bellato and gets revenge for that acting performance from Rodolfo Bellato in that Paul Craig fight. It was ridiculous. We move on to the next fight. Oh my goodness, man. The prelim main event, Justin Tafa versus a jobber in Louis Sutherland. What is Justin Tafa still doing in the UFC? 7-5. 7-5 Justin Tafa is in the UFC, but we're getting rid of Jailton. I was gonna say Jailton Almeida. Oh my goodness. Rosenstrike, we're getting rid of Rosenstrike, but we're keeping 7-5 Justin Tafa. What are we doing, UFC? What are we doing? He's fighting Louis Sutherland, a big, bulky Scottish man, just a brawler. Honestly, I'm just gonna predict this fight ends in the first round. I don't even know who to pick here. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Do not trust my prediction in this fight. I'm gonna go Justin Tafa. I know it's crazy. I just don't trust my prediction. You can't trust the Tafa brothers. I'm gonna pick Justin Tafa. He's probably gonna lose, but I'm gonna lean Justin Tafa just because of the UFC experience. That's literally it. Just the fact that he's been in the UFC octagon. He's in Australia. He's been in there. I hope he cuts some more weight and doesn't show up looking like this. But if Justin Tafa wins, there's a high chance the other Tafa will, further up on the card, the other Tafa brother will win further up on the card. We'll see. We'll get into it. But Justin Tafa, I'm going to pick him to win by KO first round. He beats the jobber in the first round in Australia. Probably what's going to happen. But maybe Louis Sutherland lands a big hook, finishes Justin Tafa. I'm just going to say it ends in the first round. Give me Justin Tafa as the quick pick. We move on to the main card opener. Tom Nolan, Charlie Campbell. This one recently got added to the card. Pretty good fight. Decent scrap. Charlie Campbell notoriously had that banger Dana White Contender Series fight against Chris Duncan. He got slept badly, though, after laying down the pressure. Uppercuts like crazy. Uppercut sandwiches on Chris Duncan. Almost finished him and then got countered with a big right hook and got finished in that fight. It was a crazy fight, but he's here fighting Tom Nolan in Australia. It's a tough task, short notice. I think Tom Nolan wins this fight. Charlie Campbell is pretty good, but he doesn't have that dog in him. He's got a decent amount of dog, but he doesn't have that, I'm going to win this fight. I'm going to make sure that I'm the one winning this fight, if that makes sense. I'm going Tom Nolan because Tom Nolan knows how to win a fight. He knows what he needs to do to win a fight, and he will do it every single time. Tom Nolan is pretty consistent as well. He's able to get finishes. He's able to win a decision. In his last fight, he won that decision in Australia. I think it was against Borshev or something. But Tom Nolan's pretty good. All in all, that's all I got to say. Tom Nolan's pretty good. Charlie Campbell, decent. It's a decent lightweight matchup. I'm going to go Tom Nolan. There's not much to say about this fight. Not much for me to comment about this fight. I'm going Tom Nolan by decision. We move on to the next fight. Jake Matthews, Neil Magny. Now I got something to say about this fight. Why in the world is Jake Matthews a 6-1 favorite against Neil Magny, the vet Neil Magny? I am going to be picking Jake Matthews, but Neil Magny at 6-1 underdog odds? What? You're telling me Neil Magny couldn't pull this off? He could definitely pull this off. I'm going to lean Jake Matthews. I think Jake Matthews wins this fight, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as the odds suggest it to be. Jake Matthews, good boxer, has always had good boxing, has been kind of up and down. He's never really solidified himself as being one of those guys in the UFC. He's kind of just been a journeyman, up and down career, win, loss, kind of like that. Now he's on a little bit of a win streak. I think he's on a 3-fight win streak now. This might be his third fight. If he wins this one, this might be the third win. I think he's on a 3-fight win streak, though. He just beat, what's his name, Kennedy and Chukwu. Yeah, I think he just beat Kennedy. No, not, what am I saying? Kennedy, man. Oh my, I'm so bad with names. Not Kennedy. Kennedy's at heavyweight. What am I saying? Chidi Njokuani is who I'm thinking of. He just beat Chidi Njokuani by submission in the first round. What am I saying? He just beat Chidi. These videos make me crazy. These long prediction videos make me crazy. I'm sorry, boys. The names are difficult for me, but Jake Matthews just beat Chidi by rear naked choke in the first round. I picked Chidi. Terrible pick on my part. Jake Matthews looked great. Got the backpack early on and just choked him out in the first round. Jake Matthews is pretty good. We've never seen him grapple too heavy, but he did that in the last fight, and he can do that against Neil Magny here. Neil Magny, in his last one against Dos Santos, was having a bit of a dogfight and then got on top of Dos Santos, landed some crazy ground and pound, and finished that fight. That's his signature move. If you're on the bottom and Neil Magny's on top and he's like riding you on top, and he's landing ground strikes, he will finish the fight. That's basically it. So as long as Jake Matthews doesn't get into that position, I don't see him losing this fight. So give me Jake Matthews as the quick pick. He'll probably get this done by decision or by KO. Jake Matthews doesn't have the biggest power in his hands, so I could see a decision here. Give me Jake Matthews as the quick pick, though. We move on to the next fight. Jimmy Crute, Ivan Urslan. Pretty good fight. Ivan fought his last fight against what is it? Navajo Sterling. I don't know why Ivan's higher on the card, but whatever. He lost to Navajo Sterling. Pretty close fight, back and forth scrap. He was landing some good shots on Navajo early, but Navajo ended up pulling through, getting the better of Ivan Ursulan, and he's fighting Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute is finally back in the win column. In his last one, he fought Marcin Prachniow and got that submission win, the armbar in the first round. It was pretty well predicted. Marcin Prachniow, what am I saying, doesn't have the best grappling, so it's kind of predictable, but Jimmy Crute got it done. Good fashion as well. And I think he can do the same against Ivan Ursulan. Ivan got taken down by Navajo in that fight. He got taken down against a city kickboxing guy. I think he'll get taken down by Jimmy Crute. And I think Jimmy Crute will find another early submission. So give me Jimmy Crute as the early pick, as the quick pick. Unless Ivan makes this scrappy and stuffs the takedowns, I think he loses this one. We move on. Jack Jenkins, Ramon Tavares. Holy crap, there are a lot of fights on this card. Jack Jenkins, their Australian guy. This is one of their dudes. This is the guy that Australia loves. They want to back this guy. The mustache, the mullet, they love him. So I think Jack Jenkins wins this fight 10 times out of 10. I know Ramon Tavares can make this scrappy. He can make it a bit of a dogfight, but Jack Jenkins is going to win this fight. He will either win it by decision or by KO. He could land one of those power right hooks. We'll see. He's only finished like Gilbert Burns' little brother, and I think he's only finished Herbert Burns and somebody else early in the career, but Jack Jenkins could finish Ramon Tavares. I don't think he will, but give me Jack Jenkins as a quick pick. Ramon Tavares is just one of those mid-level guys. Hasn't beat anybody really good. Lost to Davey Grant in his last fight. He beat Surhai City, I think he did, but he lost in Dana White Contender Series to City by KO. So Ramon Tavares is all over the place, man. His yellow hair and all. I think Jack Jenkins wins this fight, bounces back after his loss to Gabriel Santos. He got choked out in the last fight, but it was a scrap. He was hurting Santos in moments, so I think he's going to be much better than Ramon Tavares here. Give me Jack Jenkins as the quick pick, and I'm going to say he gets a decision. I'm going to say he gets a decision. We move on to the this is the co-main event. Oh my God. Junior Tafa versus Ibo Aslan, co-main event in the Big 2025. 6-4. 6-4. 6-4 in the co-main event. And Ibo Aslan, who's on a 2-fight losing streak now. He lost to Kutalaba, got subbed via arm triangle after, gassing out and getting taken down. And then he just lost to Billy Elikana by decision in a boring fight in Saudi Arabia. Ibo Aslan lost all of his aura after losing to Ion Kutalaba. All that Turkish power went out the window after getting subbed by Kutalaba. And Junior Tafa just got subbed by Tuko Toko. So let's just be honest, neither of these guys like the ground. Neither of these guys want to go to the ground. They have this as the co-main because they're praying somebody gets knocked out. And I think somebody will, as long as Ibo doesn't make this boring, as long as Junior doesn't make this boring. But this is a boxing fight. And as crazy as it is to say, Junior Tafa is the better fundamental boxer out of the two. I think if we see somebody shoot a takedown, it'll be Ibo Aslan. You look at these two guys and you're thinking, oh my goodness, Ibo looks so big. He looks so scary. He was slow. He was pathetic in his last fight. Junior was trying to KO Tuko Tokos the entire fight, and he was landing big shots. He just got taken down, overpowered, and subbed. I think it was an arm triangle as well, I'm pretty sure, or rear naked. It was one or the other. But he just got overpowered, and he got taken down and tired out. But Junior's in much better shape. And if his brother, Justin, wins his fight, if Justin Tafa wins, I think Junior Tafa will definitely win. The momentum will carry. If we see two Tafa brothers with wins in the Big 2025, I will freak out. But I'm going to go Junior Tafa. I know it's crazy, but Ibo Aslan, he just slowed down. He lost all his aura after losing to Kutalaba. I don't see that carrying over. Fighting in Perth against their guy, Junior Tafa, who's gotten a lot better. He slimmed down, went from heavyweight to light heavyweight, slimmed down. He looked a lot better in his last fight. He just got taken down, and this will be a boxing matchup. So I think Junior Tafa will outbox Ibo Aslan either for 3 rounds or find a KO over Ibo. We will see. I'm going to go Junior Tafa as the quick pick. Moving on to the main event, the only important fight on the card, man, because every other fight is not ranked. Literally, there's like 15 fights on this card. There's 3 ranked fighters on this card. Ridiculous. We got Carlos Ulberg, Dominic Reyes. Great fight, to be honest. Great fight. Very excited for this one. Dominic Reyes comeback, the redemption, the uprising of Dominic Reyes after his loss to Ryan Spann. He's on a 3-fight win streak, all by KO, all in the first round as well. First or second round, I think. He knocked out, what's his name? He knocked out the kickboxer. Then he knocked out, oh my goodness. Then he knocked out Anthony Smith, and then he just knocked out Nikita Krylov in his last fight and looked great. He looked great doing it. He should have got a performance bonus. I don't know why he didn't, but landed that perfect counter right hook like he does and dropped Nikita Krylov and finished him on the ground. So Dom's been looking good. Carlos Ulberg also been looking good. Had a pretty boring fight though in his last one against Jan Blachowicz. Just literally made it a snooze fest and arguably lost to Blachowicz by leg kick. He should have lost that fight, let's just be honest. But this is a different fight. This is a 5-round fight. Dominic Reyes, Carlos Ulberg. Carlos is going to make this boring, okay? This is supposed to be a good fight. On paper, this looks like a great fight, but Carlos is going to make this boring. He is going to slow down the pace. He is going to pop his shots from the outside because he is scared of Dominic Reyes' counter-striking. He is. They all are. They all are, all right? I think Carlos is going to just skirt around the outside of the octagon, pop, pop, leg kick, pop, 5 rounds. Unless Dominic Reyes pushes him up against the fence and catches him, I think Carlos Ulberg will skirt and pop the jab and pop the leg kicks and the body kicks for as long as he can. So give me Carlos Ulberg as the quick pick. As ashamed I am to say that. As ashamed, I will fully be rooting for Dominic Reyes to sleep Carlos Ulberg. After his boring fight against Jan Blachowicz, I will be fully rooting for Dominic Reyes to get this win and be in a he's going to be in a title eliminator spot here. If he beats Carlos Ulberg, he could fight for the title next against Ankalaev or against Pereira. Wouldn't that be insane? Dominic Reyes versus Pereira or Ank? That would be insane. And I will be praying that happens. But I am very scared that Carlos Ulberg will just make this boring and win a 5-round decision. We'll see what happens. But give me Carlos Ulberg as the quick pick by decision. I don't think he's going to make this dirty. I don't think he's going to make this a messy fight of the night type fight. I think he's going to make it boring and find himself a decision. So give me Carlos Ulberg as the quick pick. Those are all my picks, boys. If you guys did enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Way too many fights on this card. Let's just be honest. Sometimes we like having a lot of fights. This is just too many. But it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. If you guys did enjoy the video, like I said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop it down in the comments who you guys are picking in the main event, and I will catch you boys in the next one. See you.